In this video we're going to look at the first step that you can take if you want to use Python for empirical research. The first thing that you need to do empirical research is data. And a number of institutes like the World Bank actually provide APIs, which stand for Application Programming Interface, to help you search their databases and to actually get their data. So the library that you need for the World Bank is called wbdata, and we're going to import it as wb. Now what you can do is the following. So you can search their database for indicators, and let's say we're interested in indicators related to health expenditures. Why doesn't this work? Here we go. Sorry, it's health expenditure. So run a number of variables in their database related to health expenditure, and we're going to be interested in two of these. One is related to total healthcare expenditure. I think it's this one that we're going to be using, and there is one related to public or government healthcare expenditure. Let me see, I think that's this one that we're gonna... No, it's not this one. Let me see, the one I had in mind was... this one over here. So this is government healthcare expenditure, and this one is healthcare expenditure. So let me go over here. So we'll create a new Python block, and then we can define the indicators subscript H related to health that we want to import in a second. So the first one is this one. So I'm creating a dictionary here where I first give the name that's used in the database. And now I give it a name that's a bit more easy to understand and to work with when you're doing empirical research. So I'll call this health expenditure per head. And then the public one, so we can copy the name here. And I call this one government health expenditure. Then I can create a data frame, which again underscore up H for health. And then we use from this library get data frame. So I pass this dictionary indicators H, and we say convert date is true. And to get an idea of what we have, we can say to see what the first couple of lines of this data frame look like. So it takes a second to actually get this data. So let me just continue with the next Python block. So in the notebook we consider data that's related to GDP per capita. So again, first we search the, oh, this is not particularly useful at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. So we want to have display plain. So here we have it. So what we see is we have these columns here, country and date. And then we have our variable names, health expenditure per head, and government health expenditure. Now one step that we can take in between, which might be useful later on, is actually get rid of the index. So we reset the index in places true. So it's a bit easier to refer to the columns. So in the notebook that we actually use in class, we have the same searching of the database for variables related to GDP per capita. So then we have indicators related to income, which is then equal to ny dot GDP KP, and the name I want to be using is GDP per head. So then I create a data frame Y for income, which is then W get data frame indicators Y convert data is true. Also here I will say data frame Y reset the index in place equals true. And to get an idea of what we have, we look at the first couple of rows in this data frame. And I don't want the HTML output, I want to have the simple one, so we say display plain. So it takes a bit of time to actually get this data. So you can see that the data that we got now is GDP per capita, and it has these same columns, country and date, the same columns that we have here. So what we can do now is to put both these data frames, one for healthcare expenditure and one for income, into one data frame. So I'm going to define my data frame as, I'm using the pandas merge command. So I want to merge my data frame with income, and then my data frame with the two health expenditure indicators. And then I specify how I want to merge these two things. So I want to merge them on the columns country and date. And again, to get an idea of what that looks like, look at the first couple of rows, and I have to make display plain. Yeah, so now it added the healthcare indicators to the data frame with GDP per head. So I've merged the two. And things I can do now is to get the first sense of what's going on. We can make a scatter plot where we plot from the data frame the F that we just made, GDP per head, against health expenditure per head. I can add an X label, which would then be GDP per head. Oh, sorry. And on the Y label, on the y-axis, we can have the label health expenditure per head. And then I get my scatter plot of the relationship between, on the horizontal axis, GDP per head, and on the vertical axis, health expenditure per head.